Hello beautiful, this is Joana Saahirah with another video inspired by dancers from all over the world as well as by the new free webinar launched by Joana Saahirah's World, Egyptian Dance from the Perspective of a Professional Egyptian Musician. For this new webinar, I have a very special guest, Diab Nasser, the creator of the fabulous Mazikate Orchestra, with whom I've already worked, and I cannot wait to share his knowledge, my own experience, and everything that professional musicians have to teach us, the dancers, about our craft, music, and the culture behind it. If you're interested in participating, gaining access to the live webinar, its recording, and the bonus materials we only share with our participants, check all the information below this video and register, save your spot, because that's the only way you're gonna have access to this amazing event. And now, let's launch our video. Lesson number one that I learned from my musicians in Cairo. If you have fun, you are more creative. Yes, having fun, having pleasure in what you do is directly connected to your creativity or the creative flow. The more fun you're having while you're dancing, while you're choreographing, while you're improvising, while you are studying and working on your craft, the more creative you will get. Now, I'm an European. I'm a Latin woman from Portuguese and Spanish descent. So in my culture, having fun and working seriously do not come together. We reserve fun for hobbies or for relaxing time. We do not associate having fun with work. But this is something I learned from Egyptian musicians. You can actually have fun and work seriously at the same time. And if you do, again, you become more creative. It is as pleasure and fun opens a door of creativity that otherwise would remain closed. I learned this from my musicians at first with a lot of irritation because I wanted them to take it seriously and to suffer a bit, and they wouldn't have it my way. And eventually I understood that they were serious in their own way, according to their own mentality and culture, and that in fact not only were they having a lot of fun rehearsing and preparing for a show and performing at a show, as they were also delivering amazing, excellent, soulful work. And the more we had fun together, the better the show would be. So the first precious lesson would be: have fun, have pleasure in your work, bring enjoyment into what you do, and creative doors will be opened. Precious lesson number two. Dance starts with listening. Yes, I have been trained in the Western tradition of classical ballet. We spend so much time in movement, in observation, in working in the mirror, with the mirror, in working on our technique, on the physical aspect of the dance. But nobody ever tells you that in order to be a dancer, you have to be the greatest listener. And this is something I learned from my musicians. Of course, it's very important to know what to do with your body. That's a huge part of any dance style. But before you even consider moving, you consider listening, and listening in depth. It's not a superficial listening that we use when we are living. There are many sounds that we listen daily, but we do not register. This is not the kind of listening I'm talking about. It's the kind of attentive, deep listening. Listen to the instruments, listen to the dialogues between the instruments, listen to the solos, listen to the nuances, the details, the pauses, the speed, the changes of intensity. All of this information is the beginning of a great dancer or a great dance piece. Without listening, there is no dance. And from this awareness that came from my musicians, I created the three gates of Egyptian dance, which I have shared and written about in my first published book, The Secrets of Egypt. Once more, if you want information about it, check the description box below this video. You will find the link for the book right there. And these three gates begin with the ears, with listening. The second gate being the heart, and the third gate being the physical movement. So my second precious lesson from my musicians would be learn how to listen, and listen before you move. Precious lesson number 3, mood, or what Egyptian musicians call mazeg. My mood, mazegi, your mood, mazegek or mazegik if you're a woman. The importance of dancing, working, living from our present mood, using what we have right now in terms of mood, how I'm feeling right now, to create better and more truthfully. This is something I had no idea about when I arrived to Cairo and I started working with musicians and rehearsing and telling them what to do. So of course, as a girl who had no experience, I listened a lot. I learned Arabic through this observation of the musicians and trying to figure out what they were talking about. And I also learned a lot about dance from just listening to them. And one of the things that I realized was important for them was mazeg, the mood of the music that we were going to interpret, the mood of each musician, the mood of each instrument, the mood that I was feeling in a particular day. I learned that working with my mood and the mood of the ones that surround me instead of fighting against it and wanting it to be different is a huge key for great Oriental or Egyptian dance. Instead of fighting how we're feeling right now, we use it and incorporate it into our music if we are musicians, or into our dance. Of course, the same thing applies to life. Instead of fighting how we feel right now, we accept it, we integrate it, and we use it for our own benefit and the benefit of others. Precious lesson number 4. Stillness is the twin sister of movement. Yes, nowadays, finally, this is catching up. When I wrote my first book, which I already mentioned in 2013, and I wrote a chapter on the invisible dance, or the importance of stillness in Egyptian dance, everybody thought I was crazy and I was an outside of the box loony who was speaking about strange things. Nowadays, the concept of stillness and invisible dance are becoming mainstream in Egyptian dance, and I'm very happy that the trend is finally catching up. Now, how did I realize that stillness was as important as action? I realized that because my musicians told me so. That's as direct as that. When I started working on Kulsum, a very hard, very challenging kind of music for a beginner like me at the time, my musicians advised me, first of all, not to do it because I was not ready. And they were right. I was not ready, but I did it anyway. Eventually, I got ready. Second, they advised me to stop more. At first, it felt strange. I said to myself, what do they mean, stop more? I'm dancing, I cannot stop, I'm a mover, I'm a dancer, I dance, that's what I do. But with time and experience, I realized what they were telling me was to balance things out, to balance action with stillness, the masculine with the feminine polarity, the doing with the not doing, the doing with the being. They were asking me to read the breathing, silent spaces that Kulsum music offers and actually embrace them and bring them into my dance and into my life. It is not easy because we live in societies that tell us we have to be very active. And actually, the trend in Egyptian dance nowadays is on overdoing, running, doing faster, doing more aggressive, more competitive. So somehow what I'm telling you goes totally against the grind, totally against what most dancers are doing nowadays. But this is the Egyptian dance I discovered from the hands of the best Egyptian musicians I've ever heard in my life. So I'm sure they know a thing or two, and we're here to learn. Precious dance lesson number 5 from my musicians. Oh my God, this one is a big one. Dancing is about connection, not exhibition. Okay, don't kill me now because I know a lot of dancers will hate me for saying this, but it's true and I learned it from my musicians. Dancing and performing, if you're a performer, is about connection, not exhibition. What is connection? Connection between you, the dancer, and the music, with the orchestra, of course, if there's an orchestra, connection between you and your audience. So if you are performing, the connection happens with three elements: you, the dancer, the music and the dancer and the audience, and these three elements working together in a dynamic process. If you are not performing, the connection is between you and the music, but there should always be a connection, not the desire to impress or to show off or to exhibit your skills and your talent and your flicks and your flags. That's circus, that's not Egyptian dance. And this one, once again, I learned it from my musicians. I saw how the best musicians were totally connected to each other, totally connected with the sound, totally connected with their instrument, totally connected with themselves as artists and human beings. They were not performing or they were not playing to impress me or the audience. They were performing to feel connected with me, the dancer, and the audience. So connection, of course, starts within ourselves, the connection with myself, and then the connection with the music and the connection with the audience, if there is an audience. We are here to enjoy and to express, not to impress. The more you try to impress and show off and prove yourself, the more disconnected you become from the music, from yourself, and from your audience, if you have an audience. Precious dance lesson coming from our musicians. Number 6. This one is about the importance of madness and how madness is related to freedom and genius. Yes. Now, as dancers, then again, most of us have been educated to behave. Especially if we are professional dancers, we want to be elegant, we want to do things right, we want to deliver excellence. That's all fine. But there is no Egyptian dance and no Egyptian music and no magical life without a good dose of madness. And by God, I learned this one from my musicians big time because they were crazy. All the time I felt like I was the conservative teacher in a kindergarten filled with crazy kids that I had to manage and control somehow. Always failing, of course. So I was dealing with these beautiful, talented musicians who supported me and protected me and gave me their best music and their heart. But I was also dealing with really crazy guys, really out of control men who drove me nuts. And what I realized along the way was that their madness was a part of their genius. And if I didn't allow myself to go mad, to go crazy, to do crazy things in my dance and outside of my dance, I would become not only dry and obsolete, but I would become less alive. So yes, there is no genius and no freedom with a good dose of madness. And what I suggest you do is that you bring that into your dance and into your life. Sometimes, just forget about correct and incorrect. Just try new things. Do silly things. Just try them out. Have fun. Be free. And then you expand what is interesting and you let go of what is not so interesting. But the permission to go crazy is essential for genius, for freedom, for life. Precious dance lesson number 7. One that I adore. A little bit more specific. Each instrument has its own character, color, and feeling. This is something I had no idea before I started rehearsing and co-creating and performing on a daily basis with my orchestra in Cairo. I listened to the music as a whole. I didn't listen to the music as a combination of different sounds that have different characters and feelings and tastes. When I started working with these fabulous musicians, I realized that I had to create a special relationship with each instrument because each of these instruments was requiring different things from me. They were talking to me in a different way. So a violin is not the same character as a ney. A ney is not the same character as a tabla. A tabla is not a doof. A doof is not an anun. Anun is not whatever, an accordion. Each instrument has its own flavor and it has its own voice. It has its own frequency and mood and character. And the job of an Oriental dancer is to not only become aware of those different instruments and characters, but building a specific relationship with each one of them. When you do that, of course, your ears open up and your sensibility becomes unstoppable because you get acquainted with fire, water, air, and earth. You become aware of the subtleties of Egyptian music and therefore the subtleties of Egyptian dance and life. Precious dance lesson number 8 and the last one for this short video. Then again, there would be so much more to share about the beautiful lessons I learned from my musicians, but we will leave that for a book or for a proper course. For now, I'm going to leave you with the last lesson that I've chosen to share with you in this video. When you work from the heart, you receive the heart or you touch the heart. Of course, all of us, if we are professional musicians and dancers, want to deliver quality. We're focused on doing our best job in most cases, but it is not possible to do our best job if we don't do it with our heart. Sometimes there is an excessive focus on technique, on the details that we presume are going to make the big difference, but we forget to move, to create, to play, to communicate, to connect from the heart. And this is the key to Egyptian dance, and this is the key to life. Without heart, there is no life. Without life, there is no Egyptian music or dance. So when you dance and when you live, make sure that you're doing it from the heart. If you do so, you will touch other hearts and you will receive back from the heart of your audience, if you're a performer, the heart of your musicians, if you're working with musicians, the heart of your students, if you're teaching, the heart of your family and friends and everyone that crosses your path. When you give your heart, you receive the heart back. When you work and dance from your heart, you touch the heart of the world. I hope you enjoyed these lessons I have chosen, selected for you. And once more, feel welcome to join our free webinar with Diab Nasser and to check all the information about Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. Then again, everything is in the description box below this video. If you want to join our newsletter and be the first to know about all our news, events, and gifts I only share with my inside community, also make sure you follow the link below and join. Join Joana Saahirah's World newsletter and be a part of this amazing community. I love you. I am sending you my love and a kiss.